What's up, everybody, man, and welcome back to the Man Cave Experience, man. It's such a pleasure to be back here with y'all, man. Just had a wonderful weekend where we were around a bunch of coaches and learned a bunch of skills, and man, all the energy in the place, a bunch of ahas, and man, I got my dog Ron serving. What's happening, man?
Man, just I think I said it yesterday in one of my posts after post event, and all I could think of was just wow. Just and really feeling now in this place I'm in now. I think we kind of went through the process of kind of that hangover or not, right? Just kind of that euphoria that we've kind of both felt for both events we went to, but I kind of feel now like this is the new level. This is like the baseline now. This isn't like, kind of getting here and then things kind of trickle back to where they once were. I think this is now, kind of that place to start at and just continue to set that bar higher and higher. So feeling fantastic. Those that have seen last week's, or actually not last week, our podcast from the other day, actually in each other's presence, which was just absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
In doing that, it's like we're going to work even harder to figure out how we can make this even more similar to that in nature, because we just had a blast and hopefully you guys enjoyed that one.
Yeah,
Just
right.
feeling fantastic. Just really good to be back in the cave and to really kind of chime into this topic. And you're gonna tell the listeners what that topic might be around or is around.
Um, man, it's kind of strange. We don't have birds and we here, man. Uh so like man, I almost forgot what we are talking about, man. My head is just everywhere.
That's because you got so much confidence right now.
well, yeah, well, yeah. So it's man, what we want to kind of like Ron brought it to me and I want to introduce it to you guys is and I guess it's confidence versus cockiness. Um, I mean, that's such a cool subject, man, especially coming off our live event. And and I know for me, I can think as a man, it can be real easy to slide over to that cockiness versus confidence. So it'd be kind of cool just to, just chat it up, man, and see what's kind of going on around that subject. Um, because
Yeah,
I mean, I think most people like to tend to think that they're not cocky.
right.
So I mean, to you, like, how would you look at it, man?
I think for me, when I think about confidence, it's more, how that person carries himself or herself, through their, in the moment or, kind of in their life. I think, kind of how you do one thing is how you do everything. So when I see confident people, I just see them being very consistent and having that level of just that high, that high, just that, kind of not that feeling of I'm better than you, or kind of that upmanship. It's more of sharing that kind of, I guess, that energy. Just that kind of, you could just feel that positiveness coming off that individual. And kind of opposite of that, the cockiness seems to be more where you're focusing so much more on what you've done, or you know physical attributes. I think I think cockiness has a lot of connection with the ego, and the ego, I think, becomes a lot more powerful in situations where people feel that cockiness, that that it's kind of like that keeping score. I've done more than you, or I've lost more weight than you, or I've had more clients than you. Versus that confidence, especially in a coaching situation where it's not about winning. It's just about allowing people to grow and to experience that best part of themselves. And I think you can feel that confidence not only in yourself as a coach or a person when you're in those situations, but you see how that affects others. I think people that are cocky, you could visualize or or watch, a situation where you're experiencing two people having a conversation. And I think it's very clear to me, at least when I'm in those situations, that person that's, getting, rubbed the wrong way or not really engaged in that conversation with somebody that's, showing that cockiness or that, arrogance about themselves versus that confidence that that person wants that, that, it's like what you have is what I want. And I think that's just for me when I'm, kind of myself. I would be lying to you if there aren't times where I'm like being that cocky man because of, certain the kind of thing that comes up. So I think that's just kind of when I check myself and really look at how that's, impacting my life and just not really kind of allowing that, kind of ego driven response to situations to really, it's not about what you think of me or how I want you to see me or feel about me. It's about me feeling that confidence in myself that that's what I want to see and not
Yeah.
really worrying about the judgment from others. And I think that's where, that cockiness is. You're looking for that validation from somebody else to acknowledge like, man, he is the big guy that he thinks he is, or she is the the amazing woman that she thinks she is, versus just that, wow, look at her, look at that, look at her strut down the street just showing her stuff. I mean, she's confident, and you can just tell in the way she walks, the way she talks, and nothing going to knock her off her pedestal.
Man, I'm listening to you talk, man, and I'm thinking about like this weekend and just like, man, how that subject could possibly pair. Because, like I like to think I'm a confident person or whatever. Um, but, like to me, opening up that book, seeing the fun book and now my face is on there, and then having the founder of the school say your name. Now it's not anything that I'm doing on my own. This is other people's doing.
Mm-hmm.
But me not wanting to be cocky, and share the limelight, I guess in essence kind of made me play small, and hold back my the stuff that I needed to give, so it's just kind of interesting to me how, we can look at that. And that's why I was like, man, I'm kind of cool with this one because I would like to think that I'm not cocky, and I like to think that I'm confident too, and but I like how you said it. I guess in some aspects, man, you wouldn't know as far as yourself unless it's those thoughts you're having, like, ooh, it's that competition, that wrong type of competition, like, oh, I'm trying to one up you, or oh, well, yeah, I was on the cover of this too, and I guess because a person would feel small, so they have to add or validate their next action, I guess.
Right.
um it's just kind of interesting, man. But I heard you say, like, sometimes you can, like, what's a situation where you can think back to where you played that cocky dude?
Um, probably more in athletic situations where, you're kind of like, it's more of a actual competition where it's kind of like, yeah, man, I got yours. And it's, I guess that can be looked at it two different ways. I think that, when you're in a situation where it is about winning, right? You're, playing, I played baseball when I was younger. So I think there's times I can remember back then when, the desire to win was much, was definitely part of what I wanted in my life and for myself and for the team. So yeah, I can remember at times just kind of feeling more of that cockiness and how that rubbed others, differently. But I think that felt good at the time. I mean, I'm sure, kind of being younger and, kind of understanding just kind of that part of athletic, competition, how that can come into play. But, I think there's still a place at any level to, put out more of a sense of confidence. I was just thinking when you were talking about just kind of the whole, kind of how we think we're being cocky, or we, kind of how it's felt by others. And I know we've talked in the past about how we can experience ourselves and kind of be that third party observer of ourselves. So I think if you allow yourself to, you kind of put put that energetic part of you next to you and observe you and just and without any type of judgment, and just kind of, I think that removes some of that need to um, have that, gamesmanship, or that, kind of one up, that I can do it better than you kind of attitude. Because I think
Mhm.
then it's more about just, kind of feeling the feelings of the energy that's part of that confidence. I think, cockiness is much more outward, and I think you're actually physically doing things that are showing people, whether it's your, the smirk on your face, or the hand, hand signals, or whatever that might be. Versus confidence, I think you have certain body language that can be, visualized and experienced, but I think it's a feeling more that's internal, and I think that's, to me, is, a clear difference. And I think when you go and be that silent observer, and allow yourself just to kind of experience that, I think it calms down that, or really identifies whether it's more of a confidence or a cockiness. And I think it gives you a little bit more perspective on how others
Man, this
how others might experience that.
man, this could probably be one we can end up talking for a long time, because I'm like, wow, because I'm kind of sitting here and I'm like, man, I think this is probably one of the first times like where it's in my mind it's a complete divide, because I can kind of see where you're coming from a little bit, but then I'm like, and I'm like, man, as I'm about to say this, maybe it's my male ego, but because I know like when it comes to competition, like if like say if we were going to play a game like basketball, we're playing a game of 21. I don't know if it's that male ego or just the confidence in my ability. I don't think I'm going to lose.
Right.
And I don't think it's cocky.
No.
I think it's actually pretty healthy for me to think that. And then tapping into, some of the stuff we done this weekend, like if it's okay for me to feel whatever I need to feel. And I can see like if it's coming from a one up you type of place, but it's almost kind of hard for me to judge that coming from somebody else, and then how, if somebody has a problem with something I'm doing, it's maybe not me, it's probably them,
Sure.
because shit, if I put a crossover and I dunk, I don't look at LeBron like he's cocky, when he does something like, they break his ankles and he drive to the hole and dunk and just staring you down like, yeah, I just dunked on you. I don't think that's cocky,
No.
but is it confident? Yeah, 'cause I have the abilities,
Right.
so it's almost like a thin line. And I'm like, because I'm like, I'm one of those, like right now in this time, I hate that everybody is a winner and you get the participation trophy. I think that's the silliest thing in the world.
Right.
But somebody could argue on the other side, like, well, you're creating a cocky little monster because, especially if he's on a great team, Masai comes out, his team smashes everybody and they go to win state, hell yeah, you're supposed to be happy. And I'm going to encourage them. Yeah, when you go on the field, it's go time. There's no mercy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But is that cockiness, or you're just exuding a lot of confidence in somebody's playing small and taking that in the wrong context?
Right. And I
So
and I
it's kind
agree. Yeah, and I agree. I think there's a lot of it about the person that's experiencing that cockiness or confidence, and something that may be a trigger for them, and how they interpret that based on their own experience, versus, that person is actually, that's how they display confidence. And I think there is that fine line between the two. And yeah, I think for me, I think it's more, just not in competitive situations. It's more just in life in general, where there's that like selfless disregard for the other person's experience when you're showing this cockiness. It's like, I don't give a shit what you think. I'm gonna call you a piece of shit.
of,
Or I think it's just more for me, it's just more of those everyday life situations where there's no, um, I guess, willingness to see how that might affect that other individual. And it's not, I guess, it's not our job to necessarily justify what, how we conduct ourselves and the things we say and how we carry ourselves. I guess it's just more of an awareness, and when you feel that need to, kind of, I guess, do something other than just being yourself with that positive energy, and just, maybe turning that up, versus it maybe being, more in situations where you feel a need to, justify, or to, kind of find, kind of stretching for reasons to feel a certain way that may not, really sit well with somebody else that's maybe not in that same situation. But yeah, I think it's a very tricky line to really kind of say, you're either confident or cocky, because I think there is that um, confusion, right? Because I think we based a lot of our interpretation on our childhood or our experiences or what we've seen on TV or how we've seen others, kind of, process that in their lives. So I think there is that need to be, at least a little bit more, I guess, uncertain, or it's like that wonder, right? Like, wow, I wonder if that's, is that confidence that this individual is displaying, or is it, him trying to allow his ego to be much bigger because he wants me to believe what he feels about himself or herself versus what he or she thinks about themselves. I guess that's kind of maybe more where I feel, when you have to prove to me that you feel a certain way by being overly, overly, zealous, or overly, trying to push your point, or trying to be, over the top of how you're displaying yourself, and you're trying to, like force me to believe what you're telling me, then I think that's more cockiness. I think when I sense that and it's genuine, and there's that, that genuine energy and just excitement of pushing yourself and strutting your stuff because, you worked hard and you gained something amazing. I have no issue with that person that's, kind of looks cocky, but it's confidence for sure.
And I think, because I'm sitting here and I'm like, man, I think at the, when you're going through it, you feel that energy, it. It's like I like that little joke. What's the difference between a porcupine and no, what? How is a porcupine and a guy in a BMW the same? They're like you, but they're both pricks. You know, you can look at it like that, but at the same time, you have to understand that guy that's getting, it could be two guys pulling up, and I think the cocky dude is the one that just whips in your parking space from around while you're waiting. It's almost like what we would call present day that douchebag.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I mean those kind of people do exist, and I think they could use some help to change and get out of that.
Right.
But douchebags do exist, and I'll be honest, like I haven't really encountered a whole lot, like as far as people in my circle or even in the workplace. And I mean, I've thought people were cocky, but then once I got out of my own bullshit, I was just like, oh, they actually beat me for that promotion because I was on some other shit. But like a prime example, man, my sister was telling me, because she just got engaged. They starting to plan the wedding and whatnot, and they went to this one venue, and the guy's just, like, well, she's like, well, where's your menu? Like for the food and stuff. And he's like, oh, well, I don't have a menu, and he's just kind of pulling out the phone, showing pictures of whatever it is. She's like, well, it would be cool if you had a menu. And she asked, like, well, what do you cook? And like, what type of, he was like, well, I can cook whatever you want, which is, and I'm in sales, and there's a point where you want to be confident. And then she says the guy, and she was like, well, if we came up with a menu, would there be a way we could, test it? And I know, my first marriage, when we went to the venue, we had a tasting, oh, so this is what the cake may taste like if you use this decorator, and the caterer, they'll prepare the meal, and you get the taste, whatever. And she said the guy was like, slap my face. Just slap my face. Like, and literally picked her hand up and was like, yeah, just slap my face. You see, that's a slap in the face. When you ask me that, that's a slap in the face. And I, right, this happened in real life. I was like, just scratching my head, like, did that really happen? Like, whoa, what the, right?
Right.
And she goes to another guy, and she's like, well, and she's being, forthright up front, like, well, we went and looked at this place, we went and looked at that place, and the guy had a menu and was like, okay, and then once we kind of close in on the top couple of menu items, we can have a tasting or whatever. And she was just floored by this guy and was asking about a photographer, and said, the guy said, well, before you even choose me, hey, let me give you this brochure. And in the brochure, there are other vendors. Here are their addresses, their phone numbers. Contact them, go and check them out, but I'll see you back.
Right.
So looking at those two, who's the cocky dude? This guy that's just trying to, you really don't have a lot to offer me, but you just blah, 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 blah. But yeah, look at me. Well, no, I'm the man. About, what was the little bar? D Brown's, like, that was me. I did the catering over there. Versus the guy like, hey, this is what I have to offer, but here, as a matter of fact, check out the competition. I got the competition's name, number, and all this for you. I'm like, wow. So that's kind of cool that you brought that up. I'm like, I think if we move about the cabin freely, we could see who's cocky and who has the confidence, That did happen. I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I'm just, when you're sitting here talking, I was thinking about, kind of scenarios where I would be able to, kind of identify with, who that cocky person might be. So I remember back in, it was like junior high, and I remember this kid that was like half my size, and I've never been a fighter. I mean, I've never been in a fight actually in my life, and I haven't really been in a situation where I needed to defend myself. It's not like I'm a pussy and I couldn't fight, but he was bullying me, and I think it was, so when I look at bullies, um, they appear bigger than life at times, and they, they allow people, or they put people in situations where they feel lesser than, or like they don't, that they're not accepted, or whatever that, kind of feeling is from that individual that's being bullied. But, I think you were, kind of alluding to this earlier, when you look at that bully, who looks to be, this cocky person, you can reframe that and really look at that as being, probably a lack of confidence, kind of a lack of awareness, and it
Mm-hmm.
kind of does something completely opposite of that to, kind of protect himself, right? So, if I just, show myself as being this big person that, even though you could kick my ass most likely, but I can show you this, I can puff up my body and make myself and say these words that just enrage you, and then you just kind of play small. um, that could be
You
a
won't
very,
see my bullshit.
so I think, I think it's, I completely connect with what you said earlier. I think it's, especially now looking at who we are in men in our life, as men in our life, and being coaches and really trying to influence others, and allow them to see how they can make changes. I think we can, in a bully situation, or somebody that is that cocky person, unless they have an outlet to see that reaction, then it's just a bunch of negative energy that's sitting there spinning around like a Tasmanian devil. And you just kind of watch them and go, wow, that's kind of interesting to watch, right? I mean, look at this guy. He's just, saying all these things or acting this way. And um, I wonder what happened in his life or her life to cause them that need to, be something that they're not, and really actually be more authentic and be more willing to have a sense of overall wellness, and being, versus kind of trying to be a physical, person that's going to, again, kick my ass or verbally assault me or whatever it might be. That's, more of a, primal, you know, instinct to, kind of handle a situation, versus being a little bit more like, wow, what is that? I wonder what happened in, like I said, I wonder where that kind of story went sideways to cause that person to, feel a need to, be something that they're not, and kind of feel, what can I do to maybe disengage with that person, or, you know, kind of deflect, you know, or change the atmosphere or the environment to allow that person to maybe see that in themselves, in hopes that they, you know, become a little bit more aware of how they're acting, and that they're not going to get the desired reaction from me or others, because I'm not going to waste my energy on dealing with a jackass that wants to act like he's, you know, something that he's not, and allow him to make me change who I am and respond to it, because that's not that, then I'm just owning it, right? If I chime in and start reacting and tell him, hey, you're this, you're that, and, you know, you ain't as bad as you are, and so what is that saying about me? And then I'm, you know, kind of putting myself in a situation where I feel like I need to, you know, defend myself, versus just, you know, kind of that, wow, what's that all about?
I was just thinking like, shit, it's all right, because my past is who I am too, is a part of me. So if I want to punch you in the fucking throat, it's all right.
You're a little different than me in that respect, huh?
Yeah, because I'm like, man, I'll fucking throat punch you, man. Play with me.
But I think I guess, you know, something I guess we kind of, you know, now in, you know, I'm a, you know, father of a 13-year-old, and you're going to be, you know, the father of a son here shortly. You know, how do we teach our sons, you know, how to be that confident man in their life, and how, or, you know, little boy, or, you know, all those, because all those things happen so young, right? I mean, they're, you know, little subtle things can really create triggers that, you know, can then become these walls and barriers that carry over from year to year. And then before you know it, you know, you're 30 years old and you're like, have no confidence. You have no idea where you lost it. You don't even know where to start. And it, you know, if you, I guess, as us, and what we can do not only for ourselves and our lives, and really trying to, you know, build confidence, and know that we have the ability to, you know, shake ourselves when confidence is low, and then know there's tools and things that we can do to, you know, get ourselves back on track. But, you know, as a parent, you know, you've got a child with, you know, obviously the experiences with us, but also you go to school, and, you know, and you're hearing, you know, you're seeing that bully, or you're experiencing that, you know, that situation where, you know, that they don't know, right? They don't know if that's confidence, or they don't know if that's just, you know, the way to act or react, or, you know, they're kind of still trying to find their way. So as a father, you know, I guess that's something that, you know, you and I are kind of sharing on different levels because of their ages, to really be mindful of how we show that to them, right? I think we can talk to them about it and tell them what they might, you know, expect to see when they're in school, and how they may, you know, react to those situations, and give them the tools. But, you know, then they go to school and they've got to deal with it. So, you know, how we conduct ourselves as fathers, you know, in spaces with them, you know, is very important, right? Because they want to be just like us. So if we're being this, you know, overzealous, you know, cocky individual that's just putting everybody else's needs aside, and just, it's me, and fuck you, you know, that's going to show our children, you know, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, man, because I was like, it'll probably be a whole nother topic we can bring up, because you were talking about like the bullies and all of that, and I'm like, man,
Yeah.
you know, in that, like, where do you, are you being cocky if you stand up? Because it's kind of weird, especially nowadays, man. It's, the world's changed. It's like, mind your business, everybody, just mind your business, don't worry about that over there. And, you know, the next man, now they look at, it's weird, man, like people that play small, and I think that says, oh, let me just mind my business, aren't being confident, you know, when it's like the bully, because the bullies are all cocky, but they're being cocky, like you say, from a hurt place. And I, yeah, we'll save that one, because that can, we can
Well, these are funny,
hold
because
that.
a lot of the topics that we've had are going to continue to evolve over time, right? So some of the topics we've already talked about, you know, when I'm not Papa Ron, then I'm Grandpa Ron, you know, there might be a whole other conversation about these topics. You know, I was just kind of thinking about, you know, cockiness and confidence, and and I would like to hear your, kind of feeling on, more cockiness kind of being originating from the head, the not so much the mind, but just, kind of that area where, that, kind of response to thing is coming from more of a head region versus confidence, to me, seems to be coming from the heart. How do you feel about that?
Um, yeah, yeah. Oh man, like I've been on that heart thing today. And I swear, like, that's an interesting way to put it, because I was like, man, we all say the heart, the heart, the heart, like it's something that's in here, and I'm like, I know that's just a muscle. And I think, and I was on one today, like on some really probably other type of, man, physical thing. Cause I'm like, man, the love and the heart is the mind. It's the stuff that we dwell on.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, the heart is your heart is just your thoughts. If you, I don't think, like, Danny, you feel anything in here per se. It's all what you think about her, which creates just other tingly thingies on the inside. So
So you think there are no feelings in your heart, and they're more in your head?
I think it's all the same.
Really?
Like, because when I think of heart, and I guess that's just my way of simplifying it, because when they say place your hand over your heart, and I guess in my mind, I literally think about that thing that's pumping your blood as your heart. I don't think that muscle feels anything. It's just a muscle. It's like, I guess for me, it's like trying to say a bicep thinks something. It's a muscle. And I think everything,
That's
yeah,
interesting.
it's kind of like, it's kind of interesting. I think everything is all mind, but the mind controls, like, it's the emotions, and emotions create other feelings, but it all originates on how I think about what are the things I'm thinking, like the people you hate. Like, it's not hate in your heart, it's just the loop of the negative thoughts you have about this person, or the negative things that they've done. It's
Wow.
not like anything in here. It's just that, well, you did this to me, you did that to me. So it's, I hate you,
We're gonna have
but it's really the loop.
we're gonna have to make this a topic, because we can make like a count point counterpoint type discussion. I definitely hear what you're saying, and so I guess just one question. We'll move back to confidence, because that's what we're talking about today. Um,
Mm.
so where do you think love comes from? Where do you think love?
Again,
Where do you think
it's
love originates from?
from a thought, you know. And but to put it like how, like, in the simplest form I could, like a food, like a food you say you love. Before you came across that food, you had no idea of it. You had no attachment, no feeling, no anything
Mm-hmm.
about it. Someone offers it to you, and you're like, okay, and then now you bite it, and now all these thoughts around the sensations that you're now experiencing creates either, yeah, that's horrible, that's nasty, or, I like that. But so, and it's the continual loop of that experience I just had. Like, if it's good, and or if it's good, you have some thought pattern behind it. And if it's a great experience, then there are more and more and more behind it, which kind of drives that love.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to leave you because I love you. No, I don't think it's, you have that emotion, and you do feel emotion, but I think all emotion comes from loops that play in our brain. Like, because we get to choose who we love, and you can love, I think it just comes from loops of thoughts.
Interesting. We're going to talk
you
more about this one for sure.
know Yeah, it can like it could be on some metal, some real out there metaphysical type stuff, you know.
Because I could share kind of more around the topic of confidence. I'm very confident that that your heart is where your feelings originate from, and I think your mind and your brain recognizes those and processes them, and does go through some of those loops as far as our experiences and how we have experienced those. But and I'll leave this in closing and kind of give it back to you, and we'll get back to just kind of tidying things up here. When you spoke last night on your Facebook post,
Mm-hmm.
you know damn well that wasn't your head talking. That was your freaking heart talking. To me, to me, that
Mm-hmm.
was you were showing me, at least me. You could check with the viewers how that felt to them, where they felt you were speaking from. But I felt no energy coming from your brain. I felt huge amount of energy coming from your heart. So I'll leave it
Well, and it's true. I would, to me, when I say it comes from the heart, it's from my place of thought, for me.
at that. Mm-hmm.
You have the subconscious love and the conscious type of love, but it's like a conscious thought and the subconscious thought. Well, we're getting back over there, and I
we know we're going to be talking about again soon here, though, for sure.
right.
I love it
Uh,
though, because I think what we haven't done a whole lot of is having just kind of that, some topics that are a little bit, I guess, a little bit more like, not like standing our ground or anything like that, just more like, that's interesting that you kind of feel that way. And I think you
yeah.
brought up some, valid conversation around that. But so confidence, how you, so I spoke about, you spoke about your Facebook experience last night, just kind of your share and heart dump, as I would say it, versus brain dump. Um, how do you feel that has changed you in your confidence from last Wednesday to today?
um, man, it's kind of crazy, man, because the whole like it all came from an experience, me sharing. We were in the room and I shared my story and hearing how it affected other people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so now it gave me the because I was always shying behind it. And I remember talking to my coach, like Karen, um, and saying, man, yeah, it's cool, but and I was trying to play small. Man, nobody wants to. Who wants to hear about my dark parts? Like, people want to hear good stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I was playing small, but and I think I told you. Um, I still kind of play small, and everybody was going around a circle telling me how my story inspired them, but nobody really brought up the good parts.
Right.
It was all about the bad parts that actually taught them something.
Mm-hmm.
So hearing that is like, again, it didn't necessarily make, I don't necessarily, I'm not cocky about it, but it gave me the confidence to go out and want to tell the my story, so it's definitely changed it, and giving me confidence, because I was kind of scared about those parts of me. I didn't want anybody to know, like, I grew up, having to stand for real in the government line with my mama sometimes, or and the real big one, man, I didn't, like, for the longest, dude, I didn't want to tell people I got kicked out of the Marine Corps. Like, be like, yeah, I'm a vet. I still am. I consider myself a vet because I did the work and I earned the title. But it was like, I don't want anybody to know that I got kicked out, because for whatever, oh man, they gonna look at me bad. Like, the Marine Corps, that's the best of the best, and you got kicked out, you must be a horrible person. So no, don't tell anybody. But now I'm like, you know what? It doesn't fucking matter. Like, that's who I was, and this is who I am. That doesn't define me.
Right.
So it's giving me that confidence, and again, people might look at it like as cocky, because now I want to. My thing is, I journal through video. I can't. I can write, but it's easier for me to get on video. And now I want to go out there and like talk about mastery and all that stuff, because I see people being hurt, and I see dissension around mastery or whatever, and I want to go and put a video up, and I want to go and tell my story. But then that mind is like, man, what, you can't be posting. People are going to be like, oh my God, but and people could take that as being cocky, but again, it's like, is that me or you?
Yeah, it's your
So
story. I mean, I think that,
yeah,
I think you really have to look at, I guess in a positive way and a negative way, what is the story I'm telling, and how am I putting it out there? And am I being authentic? Am I doing it for the right reasons? Am I doing it you know, for people to learn from, the good and the bad, right? I think there's always those feel good stories that we like to hear, but, the confidence that I think you demonstrated, that I've seen kind of demonstrate more and more every time we, have a conversation, or we, discuss an item, and, just even in our, presence over the weekend, I think there's that, people see, I mean, I saw it. I mean, I've experienced, I think just people that listen to our podcasts, can see that growth and confidence in the conversation. I mean, I think that's, there's different ways that people can see that confidence, right? It's not just about the words we're saying or how we look and how we carry ourselves. It's just, confidence in what we're putting out there, right? Just confidence of that we're being authentic and real, and not putting any type of extra, bells and whistles out there so we think it's all pretty and people will like it. It is what it is. And I think it's nice to see that. For me, it's nice to see that level of confidence rise within the man cave. I mean, I think that's a good place for us to really, kind of be, stewards of that and responsible for that, and feel like, every ounce of energy that we put into this program, and every ounce of efforts we put into our friendship, and every ounce of that we put into, being a father, and all these things that we talk about, that's building our own individual confidence. But I think it's a cool thing that we're helping building that confidence as a amazing team.
yeah, yeah, man. And it's because it's the intention, you know,
Yeah.
because we didn't have a fucked up intention behind it. So it's going in the right direction, and people are catching it the right way. Um, like, just like if we would have, oh man, we're just trying to make, trying to make money or whatever is not bad, for whatever the case may be. But it wasn't about that. It was just an information. Like, we was on straight up sharing some information tip. Like, hey, man, all our intent is just to show some dudes that it's okay to be a dude, and you face all this other shit. And that was really it. And we growing. That's pretty cool, man.
And the cave is the cave, right? And I think when people think about, when we talk to people, and we talked a lot, to a lot of people over the weekend about just what we're doing, people that came up to us and said, hey, that's cool, good idea, it's awesome to see you guys doing it. But I was just thinking about, sometimes caves are dark, sometimes the light comes in and illuminates that cave, and there's a different experience. The cave is the cave, right? It's how we put ourselves out there, regardless of the darkness or the lightness, and allow ourselves to really, kind of be authentic and be real. And I think that's why we made this, and decided to really pursue these weekly conversations about, all these different topics. And because, it's not always a bright, sunny, shiny day outside. You can just feel like, all the environment's great, so I'm gonna have a great day. Well, no, there's days where life sucks, and you've got to pick yourself up and be that man, or be that woman, or be that, person in your life that allows you to really thrive, and to really, know that there's purpose for yourself, and gifts that you're able to identify in yourself and others. And I really, appreciate those that, kind of connected with us the other day, and our repeat listeners. I know, you're our top dogs out there listening each week, and giving us some shout outs and all that. And share. I mean, I think, again, anybody in your life that may be, you're kind of out there trying to find themselves, or, any of the topics that you scroll down through our list, and you say, gosh, that'd be something that, my father might want to listen to, or my brother might want to listen to. Share it. I mean, I think when we assume that others might not benefit from what we're doing, then we're selling that situation short. So I just so appreciate you, Cedric, for every moment of my life. Just this craziness that we found each other, this awesomeness that we're willing to stick to it, and it's going to get better and better. And can't wait to talk about the heart with you more. But with that, I'm going to say my good nights to everybody, and my true appreciation and namaste for y'all for listening in.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that. That might be a 3 or 4 parter when we get there. But man, man, like I expressed it the other night, man, and really it didn't even. It's crazy. Like only our second time actually seeing each other. I don't know if people even know. Like we don't see each other that much. We've only physically seen each other twice in our life. Well, 2 weekends out of our life. Man, I think back, man, I'm so appreciative of the skills lab, you showing up for that, and because it is created a beautiful thing, man. Some stretch, like I think like my life actually changed again all over this weekend. You, Greg, like y'all are right there, and Karen, y'all are in the top three of my top 3 people. Like that's changed my life forever for the better, and I'm so appreciative of that, man. Like true friends that have no intention behind it, no cockiness behind it. It's just straight confidence in me and in y'all's abilities as coaches, people, friends, humans, and for you guys that's listening, man, like the love and the support and appreciation y'all give us is what keeps me going, keeps me wanting to dig deep. So, man, so grateful. Can't wait till next time we meet. And with me, that's my big goodbye and namaste, which means I bow to the divinity in you.
Rock on, buddy. Love you.
All right, love you too, man. Till next time, bro.
See you soon.